Hi, everyone. My name is Sharaya Solomon. I am a 10-year plus professional in e-learning software. That's Blackboard, Canvas, and a little bit of Captivate. I am comfortable and fluent in video conferencing tools like this one, Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, and Google. I help students enroll and succeed in 2 to 4 year colleges with a background experience in social media marketing from Wayne State University. I currently hold Associates of um, Business Administration, a Bachelor's of Public Relations with a minor in New Media, Master's of Education in Learning, Design, and Technology, and currently a graduate student at Central Michigan University, aspiring the doctoral of educational technology program. As we dive into the chat number 2, I have chose to do the individual assignment. From the perspective, from your perspective, what is the potential future impact of personalized instruction in your field? Well, first, great question. My perspective as an educational technologist sees the future of personalized instruction as a great direction towards redefining education. Not just how we as educators teach, but how we understand learning itself. For example, the teacher's role has been reimagined. Teachers are no longer just sitting at the front and doing recall. Educators have become facilitators, mentors of learning, and are using AI as a support to enhance learning using data analytics. Rigid grade level standards have now become flexible, individualized, competency based frameworks that adapt to learners' needs. Students advance based on mastery skills or mastery based progression rather than at age, promoting deep understanding and retention. By assessing and developing students' mastery of specific skills, interest, and knowledge, we can enable personalized learning pathways and better alignment with real world demands. AI has driven performances, and by continuously adjusting content and pacing and modality, meaning that they can use a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop to learn and match learners' performance and preferences, increasing engagement and motivation. Personalized pathways align with their interests and goals and foster intrinsic motivation and lifelong learning habits. But the future of personalized instruction in education doesn't just stop there. Accessibility has become limitless. AI has the potential and does adapt to languages and include experiences, bridging the digital divide. With funding and improved design, personalized tools can reach underserved communities and reduce achievement gaps in learning and cognition. Sorry. Learners will gain awareness of how they learn best, fostering self-regulation and critical thinking skills. Learners will design their own educational journey using their voice to choose what goals they want, and in turn, the AI will format that and provide the best feedback method to enhance learning for the students. Rigid grade level standards may give flexible, competency based frameworks that adapt to learners' needs, meaning that there is now a curriculum fluidity. Our students are not learning on the same path, but may have the same outcome of completion based on personalized learning methods adapting to their individualized needs of understanding. Schools and districts will need to invest in professional development and include ethical AI use for not just students, but teachers. Teachers are also using these personalized learning methods to adapt to this new learning style. But personalized learning also has negatives or cons. As I dive into the role of immediate feedback in a personalized learning system, um, published by Hammerly in 1985, I chose to use a more seasoned resource. He found that feedback was different feedbacks were implemented in the study, and they found that recall, it says right here, in all cases, feedback after each item provided the worst results. Further, even though both showed better effects on recall than the control, after the exam and the next day, feedbacks did not differ. The more you dive into that study, it was 4 feedback conditions. Feedback after each item, meaning like you answer a question and then they tell you what you did wrong, what you can improve, things like that. Feedback after the whole exam. Feedback after overnight delay of 24 hours, next day, and feedback after each item as a control. And they found that feedback after each item, people don't like that. People would rather either finish the exam, get the results the next day. So that was interesting that there are different ways to provide feedback to enhance learning. Number 2, from your perspective, what is the potential future impact of micro credentials in your field? The future impact of micro credentials in educational technology is promising but complex. Micro credentials do offer an accelerated skill-based learning opposed to traditional learning, like a 4-year degree, 2-year degree. They enable educators and students to upskill in real time using AI integration, instructional design, and data literacy. What I mean by upskill is instead of taking a traditional 2-year approach, you could get a certificate in, let's say, I did professional development of ethics of, something like that, 2 to 3 months, instead of going for maybe an HR degree from an accredited institution. But institutions themselves are embedding these micro credentials into their degree programs to bridge academic learning and workforce demands. These credentials have lowered the barriers to entry by being low cost, flexible, and accessible online, which essentially impacts the districts of under-resourced districts like Detroit. They feel that lifelong learning allows educators to personalize their growth without committing to a full degree. I specifically said Detroit because I live in the city of Detroit, and there are many programs, let it be Detroit at Work, Detroit Training Center, I think Focus Hope, let's throw that in, Goodwill, that offer micro credentials to maybe a trade base, but also as a foundation for professional development to increase their skill base and hopefully help them gain gainful employment. But there are challenges. There are challenges in inconsistency of recognition or credibility across institutions and employers. People argue that this is out of the norm of education and it should really focus on holistic learning and not just be as a money grab that doesn't really pay off in the end. You know, micro credentials can be targeted to adapt to instruction in real time instead of delayed practices that usually education faces. This opens doors for real time feedback and adaptive learning pathways that are powerful as a base for personalized learning instruction models. Okay, I'm almost done. Many job seekers are unsuccessful in their job search because they don't know that resources are available to them. Micro credentials can be that resource. There are thousands of jobs in construction, skilled labor, and a host of other outside traditional roles that can enhance one's resume to land a career by showing continuous learning as micro learning does, saving time and money, which was what I was saying previously. Career readiness is defined as the attainment and demonstration of required competencies that broadly prepare graduates for successful transition into the workplace. This showcases or demonstrates transferable skills, like understanding of technology, which are computer skills, through computer software proficiency, saying that they can work independently and follow instructions, increasing knowledge interest. Combining traditional education with certificates and these micro credits, micro certifications, greatly impacts the future in my field of education. For instance, accredited micro credentials can be an asset to employers looking for more academic learning skills like digital literacy, reading comprehension, and problem solving and analytical skills. They also showcase that you are um, you are interested and want to work in that field if you maybe pay for these certifications. Like I'm thinking like Coursera. I did Coursera to gain a couple of micro credentials. In my field, I can see this as a way to create career readiness by getting employers' attention, using it as a tool to market oneself, showcasing skills and talent by highlighting transferable skills. Um, an example of this is going to Career One Stop, as I worked as a career navigator, and they can give you a list or a list of not only potential employers or current employers if you have that certification, but where to gain those certifications for those trades. And number three, how do you see generative AI impacting personalized instruction and micro credentials in your field in the future? Generative AI, augmented intelligence, I'm sorry, generative artificial intelligence doesn't just recommend content. It creates it from scratch in seconds. We all know that. It's a computer. It's working faster than the human brain, even though it's created by humans. It's unmatched. We all know this. And it's slowly can be using as a tool, like a AI tutor, to generate specific content for students using scaffolding questions to build confidence and even stimulate realistic dialogue using culturally relevant phrases, greetings, and even trying to use personalization and build a human like approach of teaching. With all that being said, I would like to close out my argument with AI can increase learning as an instructional approach by empowering students to progress with confidence, using flexible pacing and targeted supports, guiding students through the process of demonstration and feedback. There's a mutual agreement between the teacher, being the AI computer, and the student. Um, Using the resources that I have with this speech, I have found that there is an assessment plan that ensures positive learning experiences, and there are four ways to do that to improve mastery learning. That is to set meaningful, measurable, and transferable learning objectives that target essential skills, knowledge. Develop a rubric to check if your students' level of proficiency, and creating an assessment plan that ensures positive learning experiences for all. Planning and deliver units that incorporate both time-shifted direction instruction and collaborative application activities within the classroom space. And five, provide timely, differentiated support based on students' individual learning needs. While we kind of do a little bit of this, we don't tend to do all of this. We often, as teachers, will set meaningful goals, but we don't really include how to gain these mastery goals individually. We have students learning at different levels of proficiency, but we still need an assessment of them gaining that new skill. We want to incorporate real time instruction, but we also want to make it individualized. So a timeline is still necessary for learning. And I hope that I satisfied the requirements of answering the three questions for group chat number 2. And have a great day.